Okay. Could make a list of excuses, but a very long list, but I'm not. Waste of time. Already wasted enough. Right. So just gonna get straight into like a top-down analysis slash looking past the past 2 weeks. Walk one, just for EJ, just as a kickstart, right? Try and get back into the groove and do better. Yeah, it's been a little bad in terms of output from my end, but nonetheless, let's get right into it. I already did this, but previously we were here with the bars, so now I have a bars continuation. So Euro JPY is bullish, right? On the daily, 4 hour, we left off down here, right? Pull back into daily, and I had a chalk there, right? As the arrow indicates, obviously I would have had expectations of it going up, but at this stage with the boss there, my expectations was gonna be for reactions off of this reaction first, like there, right? And then we do get sort of a reaction there, right? Come in here, pull back a little bit, and then we go again. And then we'll just check out on the M15 later how that looked on the M15. Right, anyway, 4 hour again, pull back into this here. It went down, pull back up, right, goes back down. So this is like valid POI right there. We'll also check out later what happened in there. And then yeah, anyway, we had a 4 hour boss. 4 hour boss right there, which means 4 hour turns bullish. 4 hour turns bullish. Alright, and then our continuation up. I think looking at the amount of pullback here, I wouldn't classify this as 4 hour pullback. This is just an I boss. Also, like you can see the previous swing here, swing here, swing here. This is just too tiny to consider as 4 hour swing. So we'll just put it down as a 4 hour internal break. 4 hour internal break there, which means the 4 hour internal low is here. 4 hour internal low right there. This is the swing slash internal high, but for now we'll just leave it as the 4 hour internal high. Okay, and then in here, break up, pull back, sweep. A little bit of a sweep, but not really, right? Because the actual sweep would have been down here of liquidity. There's really no liquidity down there, so gosh, I wouldn't really count that. But this is a zone nonetheless. 4 hour. No chalk at this point. We've come down into here, pull back up. This is enough for a swing pullback, right? Maybe we'll continue seeing that for the future on the daily. There's nothing close by to the left. I wouldn't be looking back years further to find the zone. That's insane. So we'll just stick to pullbacks being more likely. Alright, we'll see what happens. Okay, switch down to the M15. M15 for the past 2 weeks, plenty of moves, man. start down here. Okay, open it up. This was our last internal iPass there. 15-minute iPass. Bear with me for a minute. So I'm gonna change the song here. What did I do? Shit. Let's see what I did. 15-minute iPass right there. 59 bars. Should we go at it day by day? Let's just start here. Alright. Then I would have had another iPass there. We'd have another iPass there. Internal low there. This is 4, 5, 6. Come up. Agent session wouldn't have been part of that. London right here. At this point, the 15 is bearish, right? Gotta think about this. The 15 is bearish, but the 4-hour had just hit the daily zone right here. And then these were all reactionary, since we did expect after the daily we would probably continue up. But of course, as we get closer to the swing high, I wouldn't actually be looking for sells, right? Sells would be low probability, and buying against the 15 swing high would have obviously made me a little wary. So I think this price action I would have missed anyway, because I don't like selling near the swing high when the daily suggests that we could break this, right? But also I wouldn't want to buy with the daily, as the swing high could also hold, right? So obviously waiting for better confirmation there is always the play, right? Which then eventually we have a 15-minute loss right there. After the bars, we're following internal. Right, we'll be looking for buys. Let's see, 8 o'clock, 9, 10. Oh, this is iffy. I wouldn't be too happy with anything in here. Iffy. Okay. This here is a little less iffy. Right, if you're being aggressive, but there's not even a 4-hour zone like right next to it there. That would make it like better. Jesus, yeah, a lot of iffy moves. Also, it's kind of annoying doing this after the fact, because after the fact you don't know what you would have done on specific days. But as you can see, it's like very iffy, right? This, maybe I would have taken this, who knows, man, how I would have been feeling on that day. But it's very iffy. It's like close together price action. You really don't know where to. There is no defined like proper structure, right? There isn't like beautifully defined structure where you can see this move up, this looks iffy, this doesn't even break that. So break is there, then down, and break is there, maybe. Yeah, I think it's too iffy. I'm not sure what I would have done that day. Maybe I would have taken this and taken a loss, but I think even still, even for me, it would have been a little bit too iffy. Now, once we have this iPass here, iPass there, now at least structure is starting to look better, right? More defined. Even probably, oh, not the greatest for swing, but I think iBoss would have been okay. I was in the Asian session with pullback, breakout, good. This would have been a high. Actually, I think a high would have been there. No break until this point, go up. No good POI in there. The best POI would have been down here. You would have gotten a touch, but this is a chalk, so obviously I'm not gonna do like 5-minute entries. I don't think I can even go back. I can go back that far, but it's just gonna take a long time. But you would have had to look for a 5-minute entry in here. Say you do find a valid 5-minute entry, then you would have taken that. Goes up, doesn't break this high, so this coming down here is nothing to me until we have an iBoss right there. iBoss right there, and you low. What time is it here? 7 p.m. Would then be waiting for the next day. This is the high, kind of breaks here. This is the high, breaks here, which means yellow would have been there. And then the next morning, Asian session, next morning, you would have sweep up until the break here. Only that would you be looking for something. Now this is something I would actually take in here. Maybe. It's kind of tough. As I'm saying, it's kind of annoying after the fact, because after the fact, it's really hard to say whether you would have taken it or not. Okay, because you'd have to consider that this is a POI, right? You have to consider this POI here, which hits right there. 15-minute POI right there, right? But then if you look at like overall structure, this looks better in terms of like more defined structure. This is like internal. Make that a high, which would make this a low, which means selling there, maybe aiming for the low. I think okay, wait, let's see if yeah, I think yeah, this I would have taken. I think, judging by the entry criteria, which should have been that. Boom. Boom, boom. You would have been. Oh, there's a lot going on. You would have been in there. Stop loss there. 3.3 would have been into the zone still. Yeah. The argument now is looking at the bigger structure, right? This makes more sense. This being an internal low here, as my pen, right? You're looking at this, boom, boom, and then at that point, boom. So expectations would be that, right? This would be your boss, new high. So selling in here would be obviously against this POI, which did create an internal high, not really a swing high, but an internal high. But at the same time, you did have a valid iBoss there, because the iBoss was actually this one, even though this structure looks better in terms of how big it is, but the valid structure actually is this one. And then also you do get your 3.3R not beyond this zone here. right? You get it into there, but also you have to consider this was 2 p.m. and usually 2 p.m. I don't trade. And then in terms of POIs, this was the cleanest one because in here it's all iffy. Maybe this one here, but it was pretty clear reaction from these wicks up continuation. But it's 2 p.m. and there's a POI here with some liquidity there. Hard to say if I would have taken this one as well. Yeah, it's kind of annoying having these ones because you really don't know if you would have taken this at the time or not. Looking back, it's easy to say I would have taken this simply because it's a winner. If this was a loser, what would the mindset be? But I say, nah, obviously wouldn't have taken this one. Alright, so yeah, it's a little bit tough working with woulda, coulda, shoulda, right? If this was this, I would have done that. So makes it a little bit hard to know really what I would have done. But anyway, maybe something in there for the day. Then we would have had the breakdown, boss, internal high would have been there. And at this stage, we were trading between the high and the low. This would be the internal low, so I can't do anything. Would I be looking for sells as well? Pretty tough. No chalk in here. I wouldn't be looking for sells in here. Okay, this doesn't break this. No chalk again. Blah 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 blah. Okay, this breaks this. Make this a chalk. Right, breaks chalk. Iffy again, because you're really trading between the internal low and internal high. So these moves are not like internal moves in the swing. They're like the internal of the internal, which I would then equate to as iffy. Wait for more development, I'd say. And then eventually we have an IBOS there. Pull back in. Asian session. London obviously would then be waiting for move up anywhere from here. We do have POI right there, M15. F15 POI convincing for buys. Right. Then we have an IBOS which solidifies the claims for the buys. This nice and valid POI, can't complain about this one. This would have been a valid trade in here depending on the time. Ooh, wouldn't have triggered though. But this is a nice clean POI. Nice, I think in this leg here, this is your cleanest POI there. There unfortunately is no chalk, so you could look for 5-minute entry or 15-minute. I doubt you get the 15-minute entry though. I doubt you get this 15-minute entry. Yeah, it will come close, but not enough. So valid, but this would have been a no tag. Valid but no tag. If there was something on the 5-minute, I would have taken that as well because the POI is valid. So, but I'm not going to jump down to the M5 and start looking for that. Yeah, I'm gonna keep moving. Okay, anyway, another IBOS here. I have an IBOS there, no good POI in here, so I wouldn't be looking for continuations of buys. Boom comes down, boom comes back up. Valid IBOS there. This would have been the internal low there. And in here, I guess this is the pivot POI there. So maybe it would have been looking for buys, but it would have been Asian session at that point in time. So Asian session, pull up, pull up, pull up, pull up, pull up. Doesn't break out of this internal high. So looking for buys anywhere here wouldn't have been valid until at least. Yeah, looking for buys wouldn't have been valid because there's no IPOS yet, right? You would assume the internal high is holding. So can't be looking for buys. Also can't be looking for sells. Nothing gives good sells in here. And then we break out going up, creating this 4-hour zone. Boom, 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 fly up. I think this would have been enough for swing actually, not even eyeballs. But if you had swing there, nothing else is giving swing. Maybe this here is good for swing. Even this maybe in here. This swing and internal, because it's like it's a lot of candlesticks, man, for you not to say this is not swing structure, man. There's plenty of candlesticks in there. So at this point, it probably would have been swing. But structure is structure is structure. Like the framework is basically the same. Saying it's internal or swing is just trying to give it a name in terms of trying to rank it on how weak or strong it is. Because internal obviously will be weaker than swing, but 15-minute swing will be weaker than 4-hour internal, right? 4-hour internal usually lines up with the 15-minute swing, and then 4-hour internal is weaker than the 4-hour swing. 4-hour swing probably lines up with the daily internal, things like that and like that. It's just a framework to think about and work around. So just having the framework kind of helps. But this probably can be swing, right? Not internal. I think this would be big enough for swing, even though our last swing was like pretty fucking huge compared to like this or this. But contextually, I think in terms of context, because you won't be zooming out and looking at, this swing was this big, so the next swing has to be this big. Nah, it doesn't make sense, right? Because on the day you are analyzing this, a full day is from, can I get my drawing tool? This is a full day, the cutoff of Asian session and the cutoff of Asian session to London. This is a full day worth of price action. So why would I then stress about having it has to be this huge when this small is also still a day's worth, right? Still a day's worth. There's no need to like go for like a week's worth of price action to be the swing. There's no need for that. So sticking to the basics, let's say this is actually swing. Alright, and then this would be internal. Nothing in there. Never had buys in there, nor would you have sells. Maybe sells. Maybe sells in here actually. Sells would have been valid, so you would have taken a loss in here. Looking for the risk entry. On the risk entry, because there is no chalk in the pullback, right here, there's no chalk. Risk entry. Okay, but now once you get this chalk here, then obviously this becomes bad, right? So you would have been looking for a 5-minute entry in there. If you do actually end up getting one in there, then probably you're taking a loss in there. But valid as well. Oh no, actually not even valid. This is like 10 p.m. so no. Pull back. Okay, yeah, you don't have actually had anything in here because 6 p.m. is way back here, and you wouldn't have been trading during the night anyway. And then continuation, we said this is a boss, maybe internal until this pullback. This is a big enough pullback for swing. Internal break, internal, this would have been internal low here, break of internal. You don't have been looking for buys, you've been looking for sells there. When you come back here, do you have the sells? Fucking hell, man, what the fuck? Would you have sells in there? Maybe coming in here. Obviously, this is far. I wouldn't be looking for risk entry for a POI this far, and it is within time, right? 3 p.m. is good. I would have been looking for 5-minute entries in there. So I'm not sure if there was a trade or not. If there was a 5-minute entry, I would have taken the trade, which would have ended up being a loss. And then this would have been my swing low here. 15-minute boss there. And 15-minute swing high. 15-minute swing high there. Yeah, and then currently all this is just like internal, down. Couldn't have found sells in there during the day. Internal, down, 4. Coming into this 4-hour POI. Sweep right there. No chalk at this point, so you can't be looking for buys. So could I be looking for sells on this 15-minute IBOS here? IBOS should then make this the 15-minute IBOS. No, 15-minute internal low, man, not IBOS. 15-minute internal low there. Actually, this would have been an IBOS as well, because maybe internal of the internal. Okay, let's see. First and foremost, let's look at this day, because coming in here 8 o'clock, right? We're on the charts. Obviously, wouldn't look for a risk entry in here. Even though risk entry would have been valid. Fuck, my Wi-Fi switched off, so my tools are not showing, but it's fine. I think you still remember there's a POI in here, right? POI in there. This is the internal break right there. So this is 8 a.m. Obviously would have been waiting for a chalk before looking to continue with the sells. Right here we know we hit and swept the 4-hour zone, so it makes the sells here less probable. Right, pushes up, pushes back down. No actual valid POI in here. I don't use buy to sell wicks, because you can use the buy to sell wicks to justify buying from here, but I don't use buy to sell wicks, so I would have been buying anyway. And then we come close to today. So yeah, I think that's 30 minutes, not bad, just to try and get back onto the charts. Wi-Fi came back on. Yeah, try and get back onto the charts. As of now, this would be how the 15-minute swing looks. This will switch to a 15-minute swing. Where is my 15-minute swing low, swing high, internal IBOS? And then actually this would be another 15 IBOS here. Internal low. Okay, that was pretty long. one thing though, just actually fucking sitting down and doing this, time actually moves fast. Can't believe it's already been 30 minutes. Oh my god, if this takes 30 minutes, I have to do this 3 more times. Damn, that's crazy. Okay, anyway. For today, I think you wouldn't have had anything valid in terms of trades. Pullback chalk, no sells at this point. 4 hour, we've hit the 4 hour there. We do know the 4 hour is like very bullish as well, so could actually just pull back in here to go up. But this fall zone has failed, which would then mean it's possible to sell there. Which for our M15 would mean if we do end up switching bearish on the internal, it would then probably mean the swing pullback is over and we can look for sells. So see tomorrow morning how it looks, and then just try and get back on the charts early in the morning tomorrow. Yeah, we'll see. I'll clean up the charts tomorrow morning. I think I've left a lot of lines. All this is like now unnecessary. I'll just clean all of this up tomorrow and focus on here. This is where the market is as of now. Just focus on that. Woohoo! Even my hand is cramping. It's been some time, man. Okay, yeah, no more yapping. Let's get cracking. We'll see tomorrow what happens. Yeah, it's been fun. Have a good one.